The massive viewing screen in the Galactic Council's main chamber flickered with urgent warnings. Red lights pulsed across its surface, drawing the attention of every alien present in the room. The Council station, hanging in space near the galactic core like a giant metal flower, had never detected anything quite like this before. "Unknown vessel approaching from Sector 7, announced the automated system. Its calm voice contrasted sharply with the growing tension in the room. First speaker Tom, a tall blue-skinned being with 4 arms, leaned forward in his hover chair. "Show me the readings," he ordered, his outer eyes narrowing while his inner ones focused on the data streams now flowing across his personal display. The ship that appeared on the main screen didn't look like anything in their database. It was dark, almost black, with smooth lines that seemed to drink in the light from nearby stars. Most ships in known space were bright and colorful, decorated with the proud markings of their species. This one was different. "It's huge," whispered second speaker Mark, his crystalline body reflecting the red warning lights. "At least 3 times larger than our biggest transport ships." The council chamber, usually filled with the quiet murmur of 100 different species discussing politics, fell silent. Nobody had built a ship that big in over 1,000 years. The cost in resources and energy would be astronomical. "Our scans cannot penetrate its hull," reported the chief of security, a small green being named Ray. His antennae twitched nervously as he studied the readings. "The material is unknown to us." First speaker Tom's lower arms gripped his chair tightly. In his 300 years of service to the council, he had never encountered a situation quite like this. "Send out the alert," he ordered. "I want representatives from all 12 senior species here within the hour." The council's emergency broadcast system activated, sending faster-than-light messages to all major worlds in their space. Within minutes, the chamber began filling with more beings. Some arrived through teleporters, others through traditional ships that had been waiting nearby. "Look at how it moves," said Ray, pointing at the screen with one of his 3 fingers. The unknown ship was sliding through space with impossible grace. There was no visible propulsion system, no energy signature they could detect. It was as if it simply decided where it wanted to go and went there. The representatives from the 12 most advanced species took their seats in the upper ring of the chamber. They were the best minds in the galaxy, leaders of civilizations that had mastered space travel thousands of years ago. Yet none of them could explain what they were seeing. "Could it be the Lost Ones returning?" asked one of the representatives, referring to a mythical species that had vanished from the galaxy millennia ago. First speaker Tom shook his head. "The Lost Ones built in circles and spirals. This ship is different. It's practical, efficient, like it was built for a purpose we don't yet understand." The unknown vessel continued its approach, maintaining a steady speed that was just slow enough to not be threatening, but fast enough to show its technological superiority. It was a careful dance, one that spoke of intelligence and purpose. "We're receiving a transmission," announced Ray suddenly. His console lit up with incoming data. It's being broadcast in all known galactic languages, all 5,000 of them." The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Even the most advanced translation computers took years to master new languages. Whatever this ship was, it had been watching them, studying them, learning about them. First speaker Tom raised all 4 of his arms, calling for silence. "Put the message on the main screen," he ordered. The words that appeared were simple, direct, and somehow more frightening because of that simplicity. "Greetings, Galactic Council. We are the representatives of Earth and the human species. We request permission to dock and establish diplomatic relations." The message was followed by a complete technical specification for their ship, showing weapon systems more advanced than anything the Council had ever seen, and power readings that shouldn't have been possible. In that moment, as the Council stared at the message in the dark ship behind it, they realized that everything they knew about their place in the galaxy was about to change. The unknown vessel hadn't come to conquer or threaten. It had come to talk, and somehow that was even more terrifying. First Speaker Tom looked around the chamber at the gathered representatives of the galaxy's most powerful species and saw his own fear reflected in their alien faces. Whatever happened next would change the course of galactic history forever. The Council's 3 greeting vessels moved slowly through space, their golden hulls shining in the starlight. These ships had welcomed 100 different species over the past 1,000 years, but never anything like this. The human ship, which they now knew was called Terra's Hope, dwarfed them like a whale next to minnows. "Standard greeting formation," ordered Captain Bill of the lead vessel. His purple scales shifted nervously as he watched the massive dark ship through his viewport. "Keep the safety shields at maximum." The greeting ships formed a triangle, a formation that was meant to look both welcoming and slightly protective. It had worked well for centuries. Today, it looked almost funny, like 3 small fish trying to guide a space whale. Inside the Council station, First Speaker Tom watched the approach on the main screen. "Are the translation systems ready?" he asked. "That's the strange thing," said Ray, still at his security station. "They're already speaking all our languages perfectly. They even know our formal diplomatic phrases. They'd been watching us for a long time." The main screen lit up with another message from Terra's Hope. The words appeared in perfect Council standard. "We appreciate your traditional welcome. Captain James speaking. Request permission to dock at Bay 12. We've studied your standard docking procedures and can comply with all safety protocols. Bay 12. Second Speaker Mark's crystal body chimed in surprise. "That's our largest bay, reserved for emergency fleet gatherings. It's the only one big enough," Ray pointed out, his antennae twitching. "Their ship is, well, it's big." First Speaker Tom rubbed his 4 hands together, a sign of deep thought among his people. "Grant them permission," he finally said. "But first, ask them to power down there. What did they call it? Nuclear fusion drive." The response from Terra's Hope came quickly. "Understood. Switching to auxiliary power, though we should mention, our fusion drive is perfectly safe. We've been using this technology for over 100 years." The Council members exchanged worried looks. Fusion power was theoretical, something their scientists had been trying to master for centuries. These humans spoke of it like it was old technology. As Terra's Hope approached the docking bay, its massive engines dimmed from their subtle blue glow to darkness. The ship moved on its backup systems, but even those were more advanced than anything the Council used. It glided into Bay 12 with perfect precision, barely a meter of clearance on each side. "Docking complete," announced the station's computer. "Atmospheric seals engage. Running safety scans." The safety scans took twice as long as usual. The computer kept finding materials and energy signatures it didn't recognize. Finally, it gave up and marked everything as unknown but stable. "They're requesting permission to send their diplomatic team," Ray reported. 5 humans. They say they can breathe our standard atmosphere mix, but they're bringing their own suits just to make us comfortable. First Speaker Tom stood up, his hover chair whirring softly. "Tell them I will meet them personally, along with the representatives of the senior species." The welcoming committee gathered in Bay 12's main airlock. 12 of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, representing species that had mastered space travel when most races were still learning to make fire. They waited nervously as the massive ship's airlock cycled. The door opened with a soft hiss. 5 figures stepped out, wearing sleek black environmental suits that looked more advanced than anything the Council had. They moved with a grace that seemed impossible for beings from a high-gravity world. The leader stepped forward and removed his helmet, revealing a face that would be remembered in Council records forever. Captain James had pale skin, gray hair, and a friendly smile that somehow made him look both harmless and incredibly dangerous at the same time. "On behalf of humanity," he said in perfect Council standard, "we thank you for this welcome. We bring greetings from Earth, and we have much to discuss." First Speaker Tom felt a shiver run through all 4 of his arms. In that moment, looking at these strange beings who had mastered technologies his people had only dreamed of, He realized that the galaxy would never be the same again. The humans had arrived, and they had come not as conquerors or suppliants, but as equals. Perhaps, he thought, with a mix of fear and excitement, even as superiors. The grand meeting chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as Captain James and his 4 crew members took their seats. The special reinforced chairs, brought in specifically for the humans, made no sound under their weight. Every other species in the room noticed this small detail. Most high-gravity species would have made the chairs creak at least a little. "Before we begin formal talks," Captain James said, his voice carrying easily across the chamber, "we'd like to offer a small gift. It's a tradition among our people." First Speaker Tom nodded, all 4 of his eyes in agreement. Gift-giving was common among most species, though usually it happened after negotiations, not before. Another sign that humans did things differently. One of the human crew members, a tall woman named Kate, stepped forward carrying what looked like a simple metal staff. Its surface gleamed with rainbow colors under the chamber's lights. "This is made from a special alloy we developed," Kate explained. "It's both beautiful and practically unbreakable. We thought it would make a nice addition to your ceremonial collection." Ray, the security chief, scanned the staff with his most sensitive equipment. His antennae twitched in surprise. "The molecular structure. It's unlike anything in our database." Captain James stood up to demonstrate the staff's strength. "It can withstand extreme pressure. Even the strongest species we've encountered in our explorations couldn't." Before he could finish his sentence, the staff snapped in half in his hands with a sharp crack. The sound echoed through the silent chamber. James looked down at the broken pieces, then back at his crew, his face slightly red. "I apologize. Sometimes we forget our own strength. Earth's gravity is, well, it's quite a bit stronger than we realize compared to galactic standards." The council members stared in shock. The scanning equipment had rated that alloy as stronger than the whole material of their best warships. And this human had broken it accidentally. "Impossible," whispered second speaker Mark, his crystal form vibrating with emotion. "Our records show that no intelligent life can evolve in gravity higher than 1.5 standard units. The pressure would be too great." Lieutenant Jack, another human crew member, let out a small laugh. "Earth's gravity is 2.3 of your standard units, and some of our colonies have even higher gravity. We've adapted." The revelation sent waves of murmurs through the chamber. The Council's scientific understanding of life itself would need to be rewritten. "Perhaps," said first speaker Tom, trying to keep his voice steady, "you could tell us more about your world." Captain James nodded and touched a small device on his wrist. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber, showing a blue and green planet wrapped in swirling white clouds. "Earth," he said proudly. "We call it a garden world, though we understand you might call it a death world. Average temperature ranges from -50 to +50 of your standard units. Atmospheric pressure is nearly double your normal. We have everything from burning deserts to frozen poles, and life thrives everywhere." The council members watched in amazement as the hologram showed scenes from Earth: massive storms, active volcanoes, deep oceans, and densely packed cities rising through it all. "Our people learned to survive," James continued, "then to adapt, then to thrive. Every challenge made us stronger. Every problem forced us to innovate. When we finally looked to the stars, we carried those lessons with us." As if to demonstrate his point, one of the human crew members sneezed. The sound was like a small explosion in the chamber's perfect acoustics, making several council members jump in their seats. "Oh," said the crew member, looking embarrassed. "Sorry about that. Your air is a bit thin for us. Mind if I adjust my suit to add more oxygen?" Ray's security console started blaring alerts. "Oxygen," he gasped. "But that's highly toxic to most life forms." "Is it?" James looked genuinely surprised. "We need it to live. Our cells use it for energy production. Rather efficient system, actually." First speaker Tom looked at the broken staff, then at these beings who breathed poison and treated crushing gravity as normal. In that moment, he understood why their ship was built the way it was, why their technology seemed so strange and advanced. They weren't just visitors from another world. They were survivors of conditions that the Council had always considered impossible for intelligent life. And they were here, standing in the Council chamber, breathing poison, and breaking unbreakable things by accident. The galaxy had just become a much more interesting place. The Council's scientific chamber was packed with the brightest minds from 30 different species. They had all come to see the humans' technical presentation, and Captain James didn't disappoint them. "Let's start with how we got here," James said, standing near a large holographic display. He pressed a button on his wrist device, and an image of Terra's Hope appeared, floating in the air. "Your ships," he explained, "use quantum fold technology to bend space. A good system, but it has limits. We took a different path." The image changed, showing the ship's engine room. At its heart was a sphere of swirling blue light, contained within multiple layers of transparent material. "This is our drive core," Lieutenant Jack added, pointing to the sphere. "A controlled fusion reaction, similar to what powers our sun. We use it to create a bubble of altered space-time around our ship." The head of the Council's science division, a floating brain in a clear tank named Professor Allen, moved forward. "Impossible," he bubbled through his translator. "We tried fusion power. The reaction cannot be controlled." James smiled. "It can, if you understand plasma physics the way we do. When your gravity is as high as Earth's, you learn to think differently about containing energy." He touched another button, and the hologram showed the inside of the fusion chamber. The Council scientists leaned forward, their various eyes, sensors, and sensing organs all fixed on the display. "Beautiful," whispered Professor Allen. "The magnetic containment field. It's so simple, yet we never thought of this pattern." "Sometimes," Kate said from her position near the back, "the best solutions are the ones you find when you have no other choice." Earth's resources were limited. We had to master fusion or face energy shortages. The presentation continued, moving from the engine to other systems. The humans explained their hull material, a smart metal that could repair itself. They showed their navigation systems, which used artificial minds far more advanced than the Council's best computers. "And this," James said, reaching the part that made even his crew nervous, "is our communication system." The hologram showed what looked like a simple array of crystals, but when James activated it, every piece of Council technology in the room started acting strangely. "We call it quantum entanglement communication," he explained, quickly shutting it off. "Instant messaging across any distance, with no way to intercept or decode the signals." Second speaker Mark, who had joined the presentation out of curiosity, felt his crystalline body vibrate with shock. "That's what we detected when you first arrived. Not signals, but the absence of signals." "Correct," James nodded. "We've been watching the galaxy for 50 years, learning your languages, understanding your technology. We wanted to be sure we could communicate properly when we finally said hello." Ray, monitoring security as always, raised one of his antennae. "And your weapons?" he asked. "Do you have those too?" The room grew quiet. It was not polite to ask about weapons during a first contact, but everyone wanted to know. James looked at his crew, then back at the Council members. "We believe in peace," he said carefully, "but Earth's history taught us to be prepared. Yes, we have weapons. No, we won't discuss them unless we have to." The way he said it, calm and matter-of-fact, was somehow more frightening than any threat could have been. Professor Allen moved his tank closer to the human delegation. "One thing puzzles me," he bubbled. "Why reveal all this technology now? Why not keep it secret?" Kate stepped forward to answer. "Because we want to trade, to share knowledge. Humanity believes in open exchange. We've learned that secrets only breed fear." "Besides," James added with a small smile, "this isn't all our technology. These are just the basics we thought you'd find interesting. We believe in being honest, but also careful. The council scientists looked at each other nervously. If these were just the basics, what else did humans have? Their ships already defied the laws of physics as the council understood them. Their technology made advanced alien science look primitive. First speaker Tom, watching from the back of the room, felt a shiver run through his forearms. The galaxy had not just met a new species, they had met their new teachers, whether they wanted them or not. And class was just beginning. The attack came without warning. 12 pirate ships dropped out of quantum space around the council station, their weapons already charged. Their black and red hulls stood out against the star-filled background like blood drops in space. Pirates, Ray shouted from his security station. The Blood Star Fleet, they've broken through our outer sensors. First speaker Tom rushed to the main control room, all 4 arms working different control panels. Activate defense systems. Where are our patrol ships? The pirates are using some new technology, Ray reported, his antennae straight with fear. Our shields aren't responding properly. They're just passing through. In the scientific chamber, Captain James watched the situation unfold on the emergency screens. His crew gathered around him, their casual demeanor suddenly replaced by military precision. Captain, Kate said quietly, Terra's hope is ready. James nodded, his friendly diplomat's smile replaced by something harder. Time to show them what a real warship looks like. The pirate leader's face appeared on all screens across the station. He was a large reptilian being with scarred scales and cybernetic eyes. Attention Council Station, he growled. Your defenses are useless against our new weapons. Surrender now, and we might let some of you live. First speaker Tom looked helplessly at his control panels. The station's shields were failing. Their weapons couldn't lock onto the pirate ships. Thousands of lives were at risk. Then everyone noticed Terra's hope was moving. The massive human ship, which had been quietly docked at Bay 12, detached from the station with impossible grace. Its dark hull seemed to absorb nearby light, making it look like a hole in space. What are they doing? Second speaker Mark asked, his crystal form vibrating with worry. Their diplomatic vessel can't fight 12 warships. The pirate leader noticed Terra's hope too. What's this? Some new council toy? He laughed. Destroy it first. Show them their hope is useless. 6 pirate ships turned their weapons toward Terra's hope. Energy beams that had cut through the council's best shields struck the human ship's hull. Nothing happened. Interesting weapons. Captain James's voice came through all channels, calm as if he was discussing the weather. Lieutenant Jack, please show them our point defense system. Tiny lights flickered across Terra's Hope's hull. A web of blue energy pulses shot out, hitting each pirate ship with surgical precision. Their new shield technology failed instantly. What are you? The pirate leader demanded, his confidence cracking. We're human, James replied simply. And you're attacking the diplomatic meeting. Kate, disable their engines. Jack, shut down their weapons. Let's do this cleanly. Terra's Hope moved like a dancer through space, its massive size belying its agility. Each time it passed a pirate ship, that ship went dark, its systems shutting down one by one. The council members watched in stunned silence. Their best warships couldn't have handled even one of these pirates. The humans were disabling all 12 without destroying a single vessel. This is impossible, the pirate leader screamed. Our shields were designed to beat anything in known space. Yes, James agreed, as his ship disabled the last pirate vessel. Known space, but we're not from known space, are we? Within 5 minutes, it was over. All 12 pirate ships floated powerless, their crews trapped inside. Terra's Hope returned to its docking position, as if nothing unusual had happened. Captain James stepped back into the council chamber, straightening his uniform. Sorry about that, he said to first speaker Tom. We didn't mean to interfere in local matters, but we couldn't just watch. Ray's security console was covered in warning lights. "Their weapons," he whispered. "We didn't detect them firing. We didn't detect anything." "How?" "Terra's Hope is a diplomatic vessel," Kate explained, rejoining her captain. "But on Earth, diplomacy and defense go hand in hand. We believe the best negotiator is one who never needs to fight, but can win if they must." The council chamber was silent. They had just watched a diplomatic vessel effortlessly defeat 12 warships equipped with technology that had bypassed their best defenses. First Speaker Tom looked at Captain James with new eyes. "A diplomatic vessel," he repeated slowly. Then, "What do your actual warships look like?" James just smiled. "Let's hope we never need to find out." The message was clear. The galaxy had just learned that humanity's open hand of friendship was backed by a very, very strong fist. The emergency council session following the pirate attack was unlike any meeting in galactic history. All 57 member species had representatives present, either in person or through holograms. The chamber buzzed with nervous energy as Captain James took the speaker's platform. "I believe," James said, looking around the chamber, "it's time we told you the full story of humanity." First Speaker Tom leaned forward in his hover chair. After watching Terra's Hope defeat 12 pirate ships without effort, everyone wanted to know more about these humans. "Our story begins with struggle," James continued, activating a hologram of Earth. "Our world wasn't just challenging, it actively tried to kill us. Earthquakes, volcanoes, storms, predators, diseases. Everything on Earth evolved to survive." The hologram showed scenes from human history. Primitive humans hunting massive creatures, building shelters against terrible storms, fighting diseases with early medicine. "We didn't just adapt," Kate added from her position near the platform. "We learned to think differently. When nature threw a problem at us, we solved it. Then we made the solution better." Lieutenant Jack pressed a button, changing the hologram to show human wars. "Yes, we fought each other too. A lot. Each conflict pushed our technology forward. But something interesting happened. We got better at ending wars than fighting them." The council members watched as the images shifted to show peace treaties, international cooperation, and the first steps into space. 50 years ago," James continued, "we detected your quantum communications. We built our first faster-than-light sensors and discovered we weren't alone. It was humanity's greatest moment. And our greatest challenge." The hologram showed Earth's first detection of alien life, followed by rapid technological advancement. "We knew we weren't ready," Kate explained. "The galaxy was huge, filled with ancient species. So we watched. We learned. We prepared. Your quantum-full technology." James pointed to a council ship in the hologram. "We studied it, understood its limits, and developed something better. Your communication systems, we learned to bypass them completely. Your weapons, we developed defenses before you knew we existed." Second Speaker Mark's crystal form pulsed with surprise. "You've been watching us for 50 years, without anyone knowing." James nodded. "We have cloaked observation posts near every major system in Council space. We needed to understand you before we revealed ourselves." The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Ray's security antenna went completely straight. That's impossible. Our sensors would have detected something." "Actually," Jack said with a small smile, "there's one observing this station right now. Would you like to see it?" He pressed another button. On the main screen, a patch of empty space suddenly rippled, and a small satellite appeared, its dark hull similar to Terra's Hope. "Don't worry," James assured them, seeing the panic on many faces. "They're purely scientific. We believe in gathering knowledge, not threatening others." First Speaker Tom raised all 4 hands for silence. "But why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue watching?" "Because of them," James said, pointing to an image of the defeated pirate ships. "We've noticed growing instability in some sectors, new weapons appearing that shouldn't exist. Someone is disrupting the peace, and we decided it was time to step in. Kate stepped forward. Humanity believes in balance. We watched you build something amazing. A peaceful coalition of different species working together. We want to help protect that. And James added, his voice growing serious, we want to warn you. Those pirate weapons, they weren't developed naturally. Someone gave them that technology. Someone who doesn't want peace. The council chamber went quiet as the implications sank in. These humans hadn't just revealed themselves. They were offering protection. Terra's Hope is just one ship, James said softly. One of our older models, actually. Earth has an entire fleet of more advanced vessels. We've built shipyards in other star systems, established colonies on worlds you considered uninhabitable. He paused, letting that sink in. We're not here to conquer or control. We're here because the galaxy is about to face a crisis, and Earth believes in helping our neighbors. First Speaker Tom looked at the human captain, understanding finally dawning. You're not asking to join the council, he said. You're offering to help lead it. James smiled. Actually, we're offering something more important than leadership. We're offering friendship, backed by the strongest ships, the most advanced technology, and 50 years of watching your backs without you knowing it. The galaxy, it seemed, had just gained some very powerful friends. 1 week after the pirate attack, the Galactic Council gathered for their most important vote in 1,000 years. The massive chamber was packed with representatives from all member species. Even the viewing galleries, usually empty, were full of diplomatic staff and media observers. First Speaker Tom stood at the central platform, all 4 arms holding ceremonial voting crystals. We are here, he announced, to vote on humanity's status in galactic society. Captain James and his crew sat in their reinforced chairs, watching calmly. Terra's Hope hung outside the station's largest window, its dark hull reflecting the light of distant stars. In the past week, Tom continued, we have learned much about our human friends. Their technology surpasses our understanding. Their ship defended us when our own weapons failed. Their knowledge of our space exceeds our own records. The chamber's main screen displayed the voting options. The traditional choices for new species were observer status or junior member. But today, there was a third option. Special protection partner. The humans don't want to rule us. Second Speaker Mark chimed in, his crystal form glowing with emotion. They want to protect us. They've already been doing it for 50 years. Ray, now promoted to head of Combined Security, stepped forward. My team has confirmed their claims. We've found traces of their observation posts throughout Council space. They'd been silently stopping pirates and criminals for years. The voting began. Each species had 1 crystal to cast. The humans watched quietly as representative after representative approached the central platform. We've received a message, Lieutenant Jack announced suddenly, checking his wrist device. Our long-range sensors have detected 3 more pirate fleets heading this way. They're larger than the last one. The council members froze, looking worried. But Captain James just smiled. Kate, he said calmly, please show them why Earth believes in being prepared. Kate pressed a button on her own device. The main screen shifted to show space around the station. Patches of empty space began to ripple, just like the observation post had done. Ships appeared, dozens of them. Each one was similar to Terra's Hope, but larger and more advanced looking. They had been there all along, cloaked and watching. The Earth Defense Fleet, James explained. We brought them along, just in case. Those pirate fleets won't make it within a light year of this station. The council chamber erupted in amazed whispers. These humans hadn't just brought a diplomatic vessel. They'd brought an entire invisible fleet. Consider it a demonstration, James said, standing up. Earth protects its friends. We've been doing it secretly for decades. Now we'd like to do it openly, with your permission and cooperation. The voting resumed, faster now. Crystal after crystal was cast. Finally, First Speaker Tom activated the counting field. The result was unanimous. Every single species had voted for Special Protection Partner. In all our history, Tom announced, his voice filled with emotion, we have never had an unanimous vote. Humanity is now officially our partner in protecting galactic peace. Captain James bowed slightly. Earth thanks you for your trust. Now, about those approaching pirate fleets, would you like to see how our actual warships deal with threats? The main screen switched to a view of deep space. The Council watched in amazement as the human fleet moved with impossible coordination. The pirate fleets never even got close enough to see what hit them. That's how Earth handles threats to our friends, Kate said proudly. Quick, clean, and with no loss of life. First speaker Tom turned to Captain James. You said Terra's Hope was an older model diplomatic vessel. These ships we just saw, are they your newest warships? James smiled that same calm smile that now meant so much more. Actually, these are just our standard patrol vessels. Our real warships are, well, let's hope we never need them. As the council session ended, the members of all species mingled together, talking excitedly about the future. Humanity had changed everything, but not through conquest or fear. They had done it by being exactly what the galaxy needed, powerful friends who believed in peace but were prepared for war. The age of humanity had begun, and the galaxy was safer for it.